was my home on a whim, riding rivers, chasing gold, living young but feeling old. Barroom fights and smoking nights, outlaw dreams lit up in lights, moonshine soaked guitar wails, singing up my lonesome trails. I'm an Oklahoma outlaw, wild and free, riding through the plains, it's just destiny. Rolling with the thunder, on the run, chasing down that ever-setting sun. Cattle drives and borrowed time, whiskey bottles, knuckles grind, sheriff's guns and hidden scars. In this land there are no stars. Dance on queens and poker sticks, life's a gamble with high rates. On the edge of promise, dreaming tall, you win some, lose some, take it all. Go! Ghost towns whisper my name, a cowboy's life is more than a game. Riding hard, living fast, gonna make this outlaw living last. It's just destiny, rolling with the thunder, on the run, chasing down that ever-setting sun. I'm an Oklahoma outlaw, wild and free, riding through the plains, it's just destiny, rolling with the thunder, on the run, chasing down that ever-setting sun. I'm an Oklahoma outlaw, wild and free, riding through the plains, it's just destiny. Rolling with the thunder, on the run, chasing down that ever-setting sun. Cattle drives and borrowed time, whiskey bottles, knuckles grind, sheriff's guns and hidden scars. In this land there are no stars. Dancing down that ever-setting sun.
All right. What is up, everybody? Hope everybody out there is doing well. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. Today is October the 18th, 2024. And I hope everybody has a nice weekend ahead. It's finally getting colder outside, which is, there for a while I was like, man, they're saying summer's over, but I'm not feeling it. But within the past few days this week, this week it finally got really nice fall weather, and I'm really loving it. It's really nice because I work outside and outside all the time, and it's a nice 67 degrees outside. It's just wonderful. I'm not really a cold person. I can't do the cold, but I would rather it be cold than like a million degrees. So really excited about the weather, and it's just nice. It's nice not to be able to be sweaty all the time. It's just it's not a good feeling. But anyway, today is Friday. Got some new music on the playlist, so go check out the playlist over on Spotify. I've decided to unplug a bit from social media. I'm in Instagram jail anyway, so and that was kind of my biggest account. As far as social media, I was getting so much reach over there, and then they killed it. And I saw I think it was James O'Keefe. They did that video of, they interviewed the Meta employee, and he basically admitted that they are, and this, I already know this, but they basically have are favoring Kamala Harris content and suppressing Trump or conservative content. It's not new information. It's just confirming what we already know, which is they don't like free speech apparently. So anyway, and I've always wondered about James O'Keefe. I always wondered how he got people on his videos. Like I'm still very suspicious about what he does. I mean, he does great work. I mean, there's something about like how in the fuck do these idiots keep on following for these gay dates or these fake Tinder like however they get these people on the show or on their videos. How do these morons keep on following for James O'Keefe? I don't know. I get that they're it's not James himself. It's like other people working for him or whatever. But it's still hilarious. These engineers or these people who work at Pfizer or whatever, like they keep on falling for. Anyway, but last night was the Al Smith dinner. Trump was there. Jim Gaffigan. I think Jim Gaffigan is a secret Trump guy. Did you notice that? Like, did you see his reactions on? Like, I'm gonna play some clips here in a second. From the dinner, and I think Trump was great. I mean, Trump. Even people who hate his guts love Trump's personality, and I think we saw that with Jim Gaffigan. Like Jim Gaffigan, like I've seen a couple clips of him or him on like Joe Rogan, for example, and he's a moron, right? But he's funny. Like I've always been a fan, like the Hot Pocket thing. He's funny. Like he's like the funniest. And I like clean comedy. I'm not really the biggest fan of like, there's always so much. That's why I don't really like Dave Chappelle. But like people like Nate Bargatze and John Chris. There's always so much of like, even like the people who go and Kill Tony. I love Kill Tony, but there's always so much of like, joking about, dicks and ass and stuff like that. It's not really my cup of tea. But I like Kill Tony. I like that show. It's a good show. But one time I made the mistake of watching that show with my mom. I was like, hey, you have to go check out this show, and it was Monday night, and I was like, you have to go watch the show, and we watched it together, and it was like the nastiest set you can possibly imagine. And she was like, I have to turn it off. I was like, I totally understand. Like it's I'm gonna have to go turn it off as well. It's pretty nasty. I'm not, but I like clean stuff, like clean humor. Like Jim Gaffigan is pretty funny. Like and he was one of the first like comedians. Like he's just funny, but his politics is just insane. Like but I think last night was incredible, and I watched it, and it was great. Better than the Kamala Harris interview the other day with Brett Baer, which I'm not going to spend too much time on, but everybody knows it was a disaster. It was pretty bad for the Harris campaign. Now, a lot of people on the right are saying her campaign is no more. And I feel the same way as that as I do these polls that have been coming out. I've never talked about any of these polls, but there's people online every day that's their thing. They talk about the polls. Oh, Trump's ahead, or Kamala's down, or Kamala's up and Trump's like. The only poll that matters is on election day. That's the only poll that matters, because these polls, like the one here in Oklahoma, they polled 400 people out of hundreds of thousands of people. And they did it in one of the most liberal areas of Oklahoma. And so you can skew a poll which way, either left or right, and you can make it say what you want to make it say, right? And so I don't really trust, and it has nothing to do with like, Trump. It just, I just think it's dumb. It's stupid. But there's people online, they're like, oh, did you see the new poll? I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? The only poll that matters is on election day. That's it. So I don't know. I get it. People want to, want to act like their person is ahead, but it's bad. It's bad for Kamala, right? Like, she went on Fox. She went on Fox News. You know it's bad. You know it's fucking bad. And the fact that she was 15 minutes late to the whole thing. She was 15 minutes late. She was they promised, and the campaign promised an hour with her, and they somehow got it down to 30 minutes, and then she was 15 minutes late. So the whole interview was like 20, 25 minutes or whatever. And it was bad. She was talking about, I will follow the law, or she blamed it on Trump. Like the worst clip, I'll just play this and get it out of the way. The worst clip to come out of it was this right here. This right here.
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But
Complete word salad. Word salad central. And the fact that she was late, and what they said afterwards was, oh, it's racist. It was attack on women. Brett Baer's a sexist or whatever. This is not her trying to appeal to conservatives because she knows that she's not going to win. Like, Trump people are the most loyal people on the planet. They're going to vote for Trump. What this was a attack on the right side. And it something for her to use for her ads for the last, few weeks, something, it's a gotcha moment, right? And she's trying to virtue signal to the right saying, oh, I want to reach over across the other side and do this interview, but not really, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, she wants to be unbiased, and she wants to appeal to the other side, but she also wants to go in there and try to. It was just bad. It was just so bad, right? I think they should have made a rule where they couldn't mention Trump. She mentioned Trump so much during that, and she also mentioned I'll follow the law. And my biggest thing that I think Brett Baer shouldn't have done was he should have just let her talk, right? Letting her talk is how Trump wins. The more she talks, the more Trump wins. And I would absolutely love, I would pay good money to see her on a 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan or anybody. But, they come out with these interviews, and I don't know how long the Call Her Daddy podcast was. It was probably 30 minutes, an hour or whatever. But they come out with these short ass interviews, and thank God this interview wasn't edited, but it was rushed, and they didn't have time to edit because basically from my understanding, the interview was supposed to air at 6, and she got there at 5:20 or whatever. It was bad. So, but yeah. Today is Friday. If you want to go check out the playlist over on Spotify, I'm gonna play a couple of stuff here, a couple of songs here. Got some new stuff from Riley Green. Riley Green's new album is out. Really good stuff. I love that song, Jesus Saves. It's such a good song, and he wrote it as a solo write, and it's probably one of the best songs I have heard in the mainstream in a while. And and if you haven't heard it, I can't play it, but you can go check it out. But I will play Ken Treese. He's a friend of the podcast, and before Instagram went in and killed my page, he was always like liking my stuff, and it was always great. And he follows me like everywhere, so I appreciate. Here's his new song, "Whiskey Prayers."
Daddy's on his knees again, he made it through another day. I know he fights his demons, but some things never change, so he prays. Daddy prays.
So freaking good. If you're not familiar with Ken, he's a fantastic artist. I Miss John Wayne is an incredible song, by the way, if you haven't checked out. It's so fucking good. You know, the goal with my channel is to push out independent, unknown artists, and I try to do that. And you know, some people, you know, I've been very vocal about my frustration with certain artists out there that they don't, you know, the way I do it, I just find music and I post it, and I deal with the consequences later, which is probably not the best plan, but that's what I do, and I'm not changing it. And for whatever reason, people don't like being promoted for free. Like it's so strange. It's so strange. But anyway, but here's another artist I just found today. This is from his new album, American Songwriter. I love the style of it. Here's Terry Glenn Adams, Still Truckin'.
Give me a wide open highway or a dirt road. Give me a field full of mud or a wide load. Give me a big rig, a F-150. Red soul vine always gets me. Oh, an 18-wheeler or a 4x4.
I always love those trucking songs. It's so good. What else? They re-released the Co Wetzel album for whatever reason. I don't know why, with a bonus track. Let's talk about Wesco. Wesco is a guy that blew up on TikTok this week or past couple weeks due to the hurricane. He's from North Carolina, and he put out the full version of Helene. And my biggest criticism of this song is obviously, I think the original song was only like a minute and some change or something. It wasn't very long, and this is what people on they have this big viral hit, and I know I'm Monday morning quarterbacking, and I know I'm judging people for something I have nothing to do with, but this is just my critique of the song. They slowed down the song. They changed the tempo of the song, and they kind of like, instead of just releasing the original version that went viral, they slowed down and they stretched out the song from like a minute or whatever to almost 3 minutes, and it feels off. It's still a very powerful song. If you have you probably heard this song without even knowing who it was. It's Wesco. I still love the production of it. I love, a couple years ago there was an artist who instead of going into the studio, I think what was it, Corey Kent? Instead of going into the studio, he decided just to release the demos, and I think that's a very smart move because those demos went viral on his Instagram and TikTok. And instead of going into the studio and ruining a song, with all this 808 beats and all the production, just release the demos. And if I was him, I would have released the original version. And with this version is great, and it's such a powerful song, and he's using this song to help the victims in North Carolina. So that's something I can respect 100%, and I love him for that. Such a powerful song, and there's been so many. There's an artist that I can't remember her name, Mary Cutter, that's her name, on TikTok. She remixed the song Jolene to Aileen. So there's so many artists out there trying to bring awareness to North Carolina, and it's such a powerful thing to witness. Music is one of those things that it can be used in this way, and it's awesome to see. It really is. What else? Oh, we have Granger Smith. Granger Smith has a new live album that was recorded like last year, I think, at Billy Bob's. And I'm going to be honest, I love Granger Smith as a person, but I'm not really the biggest fan of his music. But his story and everything he stands for, I love his brand. I love his everything. Like everything about, his podcast, his channel, I totally respect him for what he's done in his career, and it's just great. So, but the production of it, I'm not really the biggest fan of like live albums, because just, if you can take the crowd out of it, like in the editing, like in the mastering and mixing, if you take the crowd noise, which they didn't do, that's when I love live albums. And there's very few live albums that I actually like. But if you do it right, then it's really good. Like I think it was Mike and the Moon Pies. They put out whatever their new name is. I can't remember their new name now, but they changed their name. But Mike and the Moon Pies, it's always gonna be Mike and the Moon Pies, but they put out an incredible live album, like live from the Green Frog or whatever it was. That was one of my favorite ones of this year. Let's see. What else? This is one of those songs, and I don't want to play this because the video might get blocked, but it's one of those songs that it's not usually my style, but if you listen to it while you're driving, it's such an incredible just song. But here's a little bit of Dylan Wright. He's an artist out of Australia, and it's called Little Lost, and it was re-released or added to all the playlists today. But I think it was released like a couple months ago. But here's a little bit of that.
Feels I haven't slept a wink ever at home. I believe you me, I'm counting up the cost, and I think it's about time I got a little lost. We don't need much, gotta stay in touch with the ones who got us here. We work hard, no self-regard, every week's turning into a year. Oh, believe you me, I'm counting up the cost, and I think it's about time I got a little lost.
It's not my style, but there's something about when you're driving, when it finally gets into the next part of the song, it's so good. It's so good. And I wasn't expecting to like it that much, but I listened to that song like a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, whenever it was released. And it's so good, man. Here's Gulfstream Riders, Midnight Rays.
Headed north once again to sing and ride and see old friends. Lord set a flower upon my hair. Sit and watch the light come through the trees. Smile at all the noise in me. listen to the summer wind instead. Ooh, can you feel it? Soaking up them midnight rays.
Such a good song. Here's Sam Stone. It starts out the playlist. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues.
She's around her, I can tell you that. She can sing 'em all night too. She'll raise hell about the sleep she's lost. Even cowgirls get the blues, especially cowgirls, they're the gypsy kind.
So good. It's very hard for me to get into female artists because a lot of their stuff is very poppy. But if it's something like that, or Natalie Hoffman, which she released her album as well. She's a Canadian artist. It's so good. It's so good. Let's play one more. What's a good one down here? Todd Can Wait, or Todd Day Wait. He's a little bit. I love these old school, like nostalgic sounding songs, like where it's like a Charlie Crockett, where it sounds like it's from 50 years ago. I love this dude, man. Todd Day Wait. This is Oh, Don't Tell Her.
Oh boy, don't you miss her? Since she went away, you know, every moment, Lord, every day. Why did she go? The good Lord only knows. Nothing I can say that my feelings don't always show.
Man, I just love that sound, man. The older sounding, the better. So many artists out there that just don't get enough recognition. And Todd Day Wait, can't stress enough. Go check him out. It's so good. It kind of sounds like an early day Willie Nelson vibe, kind of, sort of. I almost forgot about this album that was released. I talked about it a couple days ago, but Shooter Jennings did this album with James Woods, who he's pretty big on Twitter. He's a Trump guy, and he got blacklisted from Hollywood for supporting Trump. And but Shooter and James came together and they made this album. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet because it's Friday afternoon, and I usually don't get to that until Monday, or I don't usually listen to a lot of stuff until a week or 2 weeks out, because I want to add as much music as possible. I listen to a few seconds or maybe 30 seconds, and then I add it. But I added the entire album to this playlist, and I want to play. Let's play "Hello Friend," because I listened to some of that, and it's really powerful. And it's Shooter Jennings, Waylon's son, singing with James Woods' words, and here it is.
And I forgot to say goodbye. Slipped my mind and I don't know why. I thought you'd always be there, and I never feared death. And one day I called, you were gone in a breath. There's never a fanfare, violins or bright lights.
So good. I'm gonna have to check out that album more, but I love anything produced by Shooter Jennings, it's just a rule of mine. I have to check it out, and it's one thing about Shooter, it's quality music, and I can't wait to get into this album. One last artist I want to play for you guys, Blake Camp, Dreamin' in the Wind. His album he released last year is absolutely phenomenal, and it kind of remind me. So sometimes these artists pop up on my released radar, and this is one of the songs that popped up, and I kind of forgot about Blake, and I'm gonna go check out his album from last year. One of the songs he put out was "Don't Call Me an Outlaw," and it's such a badass song. But
Street lights roll by one, I try to stay away by turning on a song. The lonesome road to nowhere never seems to end. Chasing down the daylight, dreaming in the wind.
such a fantastic artist, and I can go on and on for hours, but let's get back to some news stuff that has happened. I want to play this cringe ass video. See if I can switch the here it is. Here is Kamala Harris, the video she sent in last night to the Al Smith dinner. And she, this is supposed to be a bipartisan dinner. That if you want to win over Catholics or the religious crowd, you have to show up. And it's something that most people have showed up to. Trump was saying, or they said last night that the only person that didn't show up, the last person that didn't show up was Mondale, and he lost. So maybe she's wanting to lose. Maybe her plan is, maybe they know she is screwed and she doesn't have a chance in hell to win. And so maybe they're gearing up for 2028. Maybe she's a throwaway candidate, which I could have told you that a mile away, but we are here at this point in time now. And the actions that she is choosing screams to everybody out there that she just doesn't care. Showing up late to interviews, important interviews, missing out on certain events that could cost her an election. I mean, what is she doing? But she sent in this cringe-ass video, and I want to play for you. This is horrible.
Your Eminence and distinguished guests, the Al Smith dinner provides a rare opportunity to set aside partisanship.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's going on? Who was that?
Oh, sorry, Mary Catherine Gallagher. Mary Catherine Gallagher. It's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Mary Catherine. Right now I'm trying to record my speech for tonight's dinner.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
It is a very important dinner, and it's an important tradition that I'm so proud to be a part of.
Sometimes when I get nervous, I stick my fingers under my arms and I simmer them like that. But that's gross.
So tell me something. I'm giving a speech. Do you have some thoughts about what I might say tonight?
My feelings about what you should say tonight would be best expressed in a monologue from one of my favorite made-for-TV series.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't you see, man? We need a woman to represent us. A woman brings more heart, more compassion. And think how smart she must be to become a top contender in a field dominated by men. It's time for a woman, bro. And with this woman, we can fly.
What series was that from?
Oh, that's from House of Dragons, now streaming on HBO Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just so you know, there will be a fact checker there tonight.
Oh, that's great. Who?
Jesus. And maybe don't say anything negative about Catholics.
I would never do that, no matter where I was. That would be like criticizing Detroit in Detroit.
Does it bother you that Trump guy insults you all the time? Because it really bothers my friends and me.
Oh, Mary Catherine, it's very important to always remember you should never let anyone tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
Haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Good for you, Mary
They're ready.
Catherine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And also remember one more thing. Don't worry if you make a mistake, 'cause Catholic people are very forgiving. Yeah, and also, one last thing I want to tell you, don't forget to say, superstar!
Thank you, Mary Catherine.
Thank you, Mamala.
Thank you. Your Eminence and distinguished guests, the Al Smith Dinner provides a rare opportunity to set aside partisanship and come together to do some good by supporting the tremendous charitable work of the Catholic Church. The Church cares for the sick and feeds the hungry, supports families with housing and education, and in times of disaster provides not only essential supplies, but also, and so importantly, a sense of hope. The Gospel of Luke tells us that faith has the power to shine a light on those living in darkness and to guide our feet in the path of peace. In the spirit of tonight's dinner, let us recommit to reaching across divides to seek understanding and common ground. And in honor of the great Al Smith, let us fight to build a better future with faith in God, our country, and in each other. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
I don't even know what that noise you're making is. So I don't know. As I watched that, I couldn't help but think of, now I know how my kids felt when I FaceTimed into a piano recital they were at.
Your Eminence.
He was mad. Jim Gaffigan was mad last night that she didn't show up. And hats off to him for making fun of her, at least, and not. So here, I think this is the clip that. This is one of the things that he said.
They were so the Democrats have been telling us Trump's re-election is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true. Really? It really makes you consider the power of prayer, right, Cardinal? Sometimes prayers take 3.5 years and a George Clooney op-ed. Yeah.
Here is let's play another one, see if that's the same one. There was one of him that was really going hardcore against Kamala. Maybe it's not there, but let's play this one right here. This is one of my favorite ones, and I'll get to the other clips here. Where's this one? This is probably one of my favorite ones right here. White dudes for this is bad. This is bad, but it's so good. And even Jim Gaffigan, if you're watching on the screen, if you're watching the podcast, look at Jim Gaffigan's reaction. Like even he's like, "Oh, damn."
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. Every one of those people is voting for me. There's a group called White.
You can obviously tell a difference. Kamala's video was apparently written by SNL writers, and it shows. It's cringe, straight up cringe. And she didn't even say that much. Most of the video was the other girl talking. Trump's was apparently written by some people at Fox. That's according to what he said on Fox and Friends. And it's funny. it's fun. It's like he punches back on a lot of people, and it's funny. That's what comedy is supposed to be, right? It's funny. And here is the one about Gretchen Whitmire. This is brutal, dude. This is brutal. I was like, oh damn! Like he went there.
I must say I was shocked when I heard that Kamala was skipping the Al Smith dinner. I'd really hoped that she would come because we can't get enough of hearing her beautiful laugh. She laughs like crazy. We would recognize it any place in this room, and all polls are indicating I'm leading big with the Catholic vote, as I should be. But I don't think Kamala has given up yet. She hasn't. Instead of attending tonight, she's in Michigan receiving communion from Gretchen Whitmer.
And if you don't know, there was this cringe video. I don't have it pulled up, but if you watch on the screen, there's this cringe video from this Canadian podcaster. They were basically mocking Christians and Catholics for it was just cringe. Gretchen Whitmire was feeding Doritos, or what it looked like a Dorito, to a Canadian podcaster that was kneeling on the ground, and it was like, what? When I first saw that video, I was like, this is absolutely disgusting. Let's pull up some more videos here. Let's see. I think it's all the same videos. Let's go over here to this one and see if they have anything different. Here, I think this is where he was mocking Kamala. I think he was like, "Where the hell is Kamala?" I think this is Jim Gaffigan saying that.
It was very quick.
Hi, Mr. President. How are you? Good to see you. Come get my stuff. We'll sit you right here in the middle.
This is from Fox and Friends. I don't want to watch that. Where is Jim Gaffigan? Here is top 5 moments. Let's play this. Top 5 moments of last night.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris. Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? It looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
That was bad. That was bad. I still want to find this Jim Gaffigan one. I probably should have found it before the show. But anyway, Jim Gaffigan was upset, or was really upset, that Kamala wasn't there. Anyway. Did you guys see this? Switching gears here. Did you guys see this? Ballots were found in a sewer, in a sewer drain in California. This is Sierra Madre. A Sierra man discovers stacks of mail-in ballots in storm drain. This is in California. Listen to this.
It's in a storm drain.
As Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia tells us, it's a reminder to contact your registrar of voters if your ballot doesn't show up in the mail.
I'll show you. Jason Ace was doing some landscape work at his Sierra Madre home Saturday when he saw something strange in the storm drain next to his house. nearly a dozen mail-in ballots. He says he got on his hands and knees and started scooping them out and noticed the addresses were from his Arcadia neighbors a block away.
And of course, we're trained here to keep stuff out of the storm drain. So I got down on my hands and knees and dug around a little bit and started pulling it out. And I pulled out a bunch of junk mail and Ralph's ads and Aldi, and these ballots were mixed in with the junk mail. And of course, they catch my attention because we're seeing on TV about all of the care being taken to prevent fraud and misuse of ballots. It seemed a strange place for ballots to be.
He says he tried to return them to the nearby post office, but they were already closed. Yesterday being a holiday, he wasn't able to return them either. His guess is someone went around the neighborhood opening up the mailboxes and emptying them. What the thieves didn't want, they dumped in the storm drain. He shared with us that he doesn't receive a lot of mail. He explains for him, it's safer.
I'm one of these people who's gotten almost everything now coming in paperless. I don't get a lot of personal mail. The only thing I get these days that might be like that, it might be a replacement credit card or something.
If you haven't received your mail in ballot and you believe it may have been lost or stolen, the LA County Registrar's website allows you to request a replacement. Go to their website and fill out the form online. You can only do this once. And according to the website, it will not change your registration status. Mr. Sinise tells me he plans on going to the post office this afternoon to return the ballots he found. In Arcadia, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
That's why it's always important to vote in person. Vote in person. In person. In person. But in California, it really doesn't matter because they basically came out and said that we allow illegals to vote. We allow, cheating and all this stuff. I think I found the clip of Jim Gaffigan. Because I really want to play this video. Let me switch over here right quick and pull this up right quick. Let's go to Jim Gaffigan because this is such a brutal clip. Jim Gaff. There we go, right here.
As Catholic. 22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here? I mean, consider this. This is a room full of Catholics and Jews in New York City. This is a layup for the Democratic nominee. I mean, in her defense, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast. You know what I think it is? I think she doesn't like me. 22%.
You know it's bad when you lose a leftist comedian. Or he's not really leftist, but he's not really a Trump guy either. I did, back to the Al Smith thing, I really do respect just the bipartisanship. It was really good to see Jim Gaffigan. There's a lot of people in that crowd, if you pay attention to the faces, they were pissed. Like, there was this black lady that was in front of that was sitting next to Michael Bloomberg, I think. She was pissed. She was like the whole time just like a bitch face. I don't know where her problem was, but people were not happy that Trump was there or like they were in the same room. But Jim was like, it was so good to see that, and I think it was a mistake on Kamala Harris's part to not show up. And people are like, what does it matter? It's just a dinner. It's just a thing. It's just what. It really does matter because it shows you that she don't care. You don't care. When you lose somebody like Jim Gaffigan, who is not a Trump fan, I think she's going to have a hard time winning the election. let's switch over to this Bible update. So, I want to read this article. 32. This is the last story for today. 32 parents, faith leaders, and teachers from all across Oklahoma filed a lawsuit against Oklahoma Supreme Court to block Superintendent Ryan Walters and the OSDE from the controversial mandate ordering public schools to teach from the Bible. And this is one of the parents. This is Erica Wright, president of Oklahoma's Rural Schools Coalition, is one of the 14 parents who signed on to the suit. She is a Trump supporter. She's a Republican. She's a Christian, and she's speaking out against this. Just like I made the video the other day. A lot of people didn't like it, but I'm going to stand by what I said. I don't like this. I don't like the fact, and it's good to see some pushback. This is something that you should keep at home, and the money part of it, spending taxpayer money, doesn't sit well with me. That's the biggest problem out of this. But let's just play. This is from K4, who, by the way, is suing Ryan Walters. So of course they're gonna have, they're gonna make this story. But this was the only clip I found of this Erica woman talking. So this is just interesting. So check it out.
Over that controversial Bible mandate.
News 4's Spencer Humphrey is here with why that parent joined the lawsuit and how Walters is responding. Spencer.
Yeah, guys, that parent says she herself is a devout Christian, but she doesn't want the government mandating a choice for her kids, a choice she says should be left solely up to parents.
Yet another lawsuit for State Superintendent Ryan Walters and the Oklahoma State Department of Education on Thursday. This time, it's from a group of 32 parents, faith leaders, and teachers across Oklahoma, asking the Oklahoma State Supreme Court to block Walters' controversial mandate ordering public schools to teach from the Bible.
Well, the lawsuit is really about putting a stop to this unconstitutional mandate that violates the Oklahoma Constitution.
Erica Wright is one of 14 public school parents who signed on to the suit.
I truly believe that as a mother and a devout Christian, that it is solely the responsibility of myself and my husband to make all decisions regarding when and how our children engage with the Bible and its religious teachings.
Faith leaders from Church of Christ, Baptist, Presbyterian, and Catholic congregations also signing on.
And I think we are all kind of united together as Oklahomans and Americans in a quest to stand up and say no to this direct violation, not only of our state constitution, but our personal religious freedoms.
Lawyers from the ACLU, Freedom from Religion Foundation, and Oklahoma Appleseed Center for Justice representing them. Walters firing back in a statement Thursday, saying in part, Oklahomans will not be bullied by out-of-state radical leftists who hate the principles our nation was founded upon. Going on to say it is not possible for our students.
These are not out of state folks. You know who is out of state? The lady from Lives of TikTok. She's out of state. She lives in New York. This woman and these parents, all these people who signed on to this lawsuit, all live in Oklahoma. They're all from Oklahoma, and they're not left wing. A lot of them are conservative, including this woman. And so he goes, uses this excuse of like, oh, the radical left is just wants to, see the Bible not taught in schools. No, it's a little bit deeper than that. First of all, they don't want taxpayer money going to this thing in particular. Look, here in Oklahoma, we want freedom, and look, this is something I have struggled with. I'm like, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? And I think it is a positive thing, but you can do it for a lot cheaper than what he's wanted to do. He's wanted to spend $6 million to buy Bibles whenever there are all these problems in the education system, all of these issues out there that need to be fixed, right? I can go on and on. I made a 30-minute long video. Just go check it out the other day, talking about this.
to understand American history and culture without understanding the biblical principles from which they came. So I am proud to bring back the Bible to every classroom in Oklahoma. I will never back down to the woke mob.
I'm an Oklahoman. I've lived here my entire life. I am a Christian. I'm also a registered Republican. Just because we don't.
Now, I will push back on that. Just because you're a registered Republican, I know a lot of Republicans who are not going to vote for Trump. I just caught that. I thought that she said she was a Trump supporter or she was a Republican, but that doesn't mean that she's going to vote for Trump, okay? She might be one of these Republican for Harris folks. I don't know. I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is that Christian parents are against this, and that should tell you something. I've seen so many people out there against this, and I think that it's not that we're saying we don't want the Bible to be taught. We just want it to be left up to the parents, and I think that take religion out of the classroom. And schools are like, you can teach the morals, I think, but even then, like, let's just simplify education to where let's just leave it out of the classroom and let the parents choose on that. And I think that, I don't know. It's just a thing that I just really feel strongly against. And the biggest part of this is just spending all of this taxpayer money, and the fact that he is having to use taxpayer money to fund all of these lawsuits really rubs me the wrong way. It really actually pisses me off.
Agree with this does not mean that we are part of some left-wing conspiracy.
Right, insisting this is simply about respect for not only the Constitution, but also the public school families and staff Walters serves.
This is about as anti-American and an epitome of government overreach as you can come to. And so the fact that Ryan Walters is more concerned about grabbing news headlines than he is concerned with the academic welfare of our children is a sad state of affairs.
And you can...
Yeah. There's a lot of people against this thing. And I think, like I said on the last podcast, if they would have mandated some kind of leftist book, like let's say the state superintendent was a leftist, and they mandated everybody read Michelle Obama's book, you would have conservatives all across the world outraged, all across the country. It would be the top story on Fox News and Newsmax. But since it's something that everybody's agrees with, it's not. And I don't know. I just don't like the government mandating things. That's just where I will always fall. I don't like it when it comes to COVID. I don't like it when it comes to anything. The government should stay out of this, and it's not the government's job to just like, I know people get pissed at this, but just like with like the transgender, gay, like the books about two gay dudes blowing each other, that's wrong. And I'm not trying to equate the Bible to that. Don't take this out of context. Probably someone will clip that. This is not me going against the Bible or trying to compare the two. I'm saying that the government should stick to teaching education, and the parents, that's their job, is to whatever religion that they choose, whatever denomination, and they're in these lawsuits, there's 32 people of all denominations coming together, and they're suing Walters on this. And it should be a decision for the parents. And I just thought that was interesting. That I have family members that fucking hate Ryan Walters, and they're educators. They've been in the education system for 30 years, and they are also conservative. They're Trump people, but they don't like Ryan Walters at all. Just for some of the stuff he's done, mainly bringing bad press to Oklahoma. That's basically what it is. It's making Oklahoma a laughingstock on the national stage, And, you know, Ryan Walters is like this celebrity guy in the conservative movement, but a lot of his followers, like, it feels to me like he's trying to get a job if Trump is elected, and I hope he is. It feels like he's trying to get a job in the Trump camp. And I don't know. That's just the way it feels to me. But I respect the guy for trying. He's done a lot of good. I just, you know, this whole thing has just been a mess. And speaking of Oklahoma, I did not know. I recently came across this news story that this guy was murdered, who worked for this podcaster, and he was basically murdered at a liquor store in Oklahoma City. I don't really know the full story, but I just saw it, and but he worked for a prominent podcaster. I was like, who is the prominent podcaster that's in Oklahoma City? And it's called I've Had It Podcast. Have you heard of this? I checked out a couple episodes, like a few minutes of each episode, and their whole thing is that they are two white women from the South. They're from a red state, and they are not Republican. They're not Trump people. They're woke, and they have that little Southern flair, that little, you know. I kind of, you know, understand the appeal of it. They're kind of like a Mama Tot. Like I talked about Mama Tot on the last episode, which that whole story is wild. But anyway, kind of like her, where people think that, you know, if you talk a certain way, you may vote a certain way. And I'll just say this: if you listen to the podcasts, don't judge a book by its cover, because they had on Obama. Their most recent episode with a big guest was like Don Lemon. Actually, they had Don Lemon twice. They were gonna have on Kamala Harris's husband, and they're taking some time off because their employee got murdered. Horrible situation. My thoughts and prayers go with the family. Horrible story. You know, politics just doesn't matter in that situation, and I you know, prayers go out to the families. This horrible thing. I feel terrible for them, but their whole thing is like they are woke people, or they're like a blue dot in a red state. And for whatever reason, like, there's all these people out there. I've seen a bunch of these people on social media, where their whole thing is like their whole grift or whatever it is, their whole niche is like they are voting blue in a red state, and they have supporters from all over the country who get off on that. Like that, it's like some kind of porn to them. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing, and it's super strange. Like, there's so many people out there that I've came across online where that's their whole thing that they're known for, is like they make videos about Ryan Walters, and, you know, like, I disagree with him, but I don't hate the guy, right? I disagree with him on this one thing, but it's these people hate the government here. They hate Ryan Walters, they hate Stitt, they hate everything about Oklahoma, and they still choose to live here. And I'm of the attitude of, like, if you can move, if you have the resources to move. Now, I understand some people out there don't, but if your whole platform is like bitching about where you're at, and you're bitching about the place you live, it's just like it kind of gets old. But like, I watch a couple seconds of their podcast, and their whole this story that they told was like they had Don Lemon's number, and they were so excited about having his number for the reason of, like, if they died, this is so cringe. If they died, that would be like a bragging right of, like, they had Don Lemon's number. So, like, people going through their phone after that, like this would be an actual situation that would happen. Like, if somebody died, like, you, instead of checking to see if they're okay, people go through their phone. They were saying if they died, people would go through their phone and see that they had Don Lemon's number, and that would be some kind of bragging right. Like, it's just like, it's just so weird. Like, that's just the most, I don't know. Anyway, guys, there's lots of craziness out there in the world. I hope everybody has a nice weekend, and I hope everybody enjoyed this podcast. If you're still listening, you're the real MVP. I appreciate you. Be sure to check out the channel over on YouTube. Fixing to get some music up there real quick before I have to go. And yeah, follow me on social media. Follow me on X. I still will be reposting stuff over there, but I'm gonna have to back away a little bit, kind of simmer down on the posting for a while. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and thank you so much for listening.